Hello my scrappy friends, how are you today? My name is Natalie Peconic and you are here on my YouTube channel Nat Scraps. I am a maker with close to my heart and I absolutely love paper crafting. So if you're new to my channel, that's what we tend to do here. We sometimes work on kits, sometimes we make pages. At the moment we're working on 30 days of sketches from Christie's Beautiful Life, and this is day something. Oh golly gosh, all the days tend to melt into themselves. I'm quickly flicking through what day are we up to. No, day 9, guys. This is day 9 and I'm working on some beautiful photos of my daughter when she went to Zumbo's restaurant here in Melbourne. I have popped Janessa Franco's sketch, which is the day 9 sketch, up in the top corner there that you can have a look at, and this sketch was absolutely beautiful. I loved it and I couldn't wait to get into it. So I have gone into my stash and I'm using some bits and pieces from the In Full Bloom collection. You can see there that I'd pulled out a few different papers, and then I chose this beautiful muted grey background paper with this pop of diagonal green stripe. So that's where my photos are going to sit, just like the sketch. This one I have followed pretty much very similar to the sketch. There's a couple of little changes, but not much. Here I'm marking out where I'm going to put some gesso. So I kind of felt like the background was a little bit too busy, so I wanted a little bit of gesso on there. And I also cut out of where I matted this background. I cut the grey paper down to 11.5 by 11.5 and matted it onto some black. I figured you guys had seen that happen thousands of times and probably didn't need to see it for 1001. Here I'm adding some gesso just to take away a little bit from that background where it was quite full on, and then I'm going to do a little bit of color smooching onto the top of that. So I'm going to bring in the Twisted Citron Distress Oxide, and I'm going to smooch that around a little bit. I just did a bit of a test to make sure it wasn't too different a color from that diagonal stripe. And then I also bring in a little bit of mocha as well, I believe it was. And I do that because you'll see in those photos there is quite a lot of warm browns in the background of the cake shop that we are in. So I'm bringing that in and I'm going to smoosh that around a little bit too. And that's just going to form the foundation of where those photos are, and is a nice start for the page. Off camera in a moment, I will mount my photos on black, and I'll have also trimmed my photos down so that there's 2 photos that are slightly shorter than the other 2, and that was just so that I had a little bit more room up above and below. If I'd left them both at 3x4s, I was sort of running out of a little bit of room. So, and I only took maybe half an inch, maybe not even, off 2 of them, and the 2 3x4s I took just a smidge off as well. So you can see there that there is 2 photos that are a little bit shorter. I've delved back into that stash, and I've said in other videos in this series that I'm trying to use up lots of stuff that I've got that are in my stash that, you know, having only been a maker for 8 months, it's amazing how quickly you get a little bit of an extra stash of unfinished collections and things like that. So I am trying to use lots of those bits and pieces up. This is one that I picked up from a craft stove from another consultant just after I joined, and I wanted a few extra bits and pieces, and so I'm trying to use that up. I've pulled out the title BU, and now I'm looking for what I can use from the In Full Bloom sticker sheets and die cuts to go in and match in with this layout. Now, this layout's about my daughter going to Zumbo's, and if you're an Australian, you may know Zumbo. I'm not sure anybody else in the world might know him, but he's an Australian dessert maker, and at the time that we'd done these photos, he'd just done this show called Zumbo's Greatest Desserts, where he had contestants try to recreate some of his famous desserts, and my daughter was absolutely enchanted by it and wanted to go to his restaurant and eat his desserts and all that. So I'm looking for things in my stash to do with desserts, to do with chocolate, and little bits and pieces. And I delved into a collection. When I first became a Close to My Heart consultant, I bought another ex-consultant's stash of stamps, just so I had a few extra stamps and bits, and I got them very cheaply. So I have them there, and it means I can go in and sort of delve into that stash of stamps when I'm looking for something to make a layout. So I had done that and pulled it out. This one says, "Need I say more?" which I think goes perfectly with the face that she's pulling in one of the photos. I've got this camera because, you know, you can put a camera on just about any photo you take, because obviously you used a camera to take it. And then I also pulled out some things to do with dessert. For this camera, I've stamped it once onto the vellum, and then I've stamped it onto some cardstock, and I'm going to attach that over the top, and that just means that it's not white where that film strip is, and that film strip will be a little bit translucent and gives a lovely effect to it once it's on the page. And you'll see when I pull it all back in after I've done all my stamping, all the different elements. This one is from another set again, and it says The Sweet Life, or Life is Sweet, sorry. And I thought that really went with, you know, sweet desserts and things like that. So I thought that would be a really good addition to the page. And then there is one more that I pull in, I think, or a couple more. This one has lots of different sayings on it. And then a couple of, so I stamped this a few times, and I don't use all these guys. I've put a few of them aside in the stash that I may pull out later in the month when I'm doing layouts, or I'll pop them in a little stash that girls can choose from when they come to do the retreat in a few weeks. I've got a scrapbooking retreat in a couple of weeks, and I'll have about 10 girls here for 5 days scrapbooking. So I can't wait till then. I hope that some stage over those 5 days we might be able to have the girls join us for a Facebook page or something like that. It would be really lovely. So the Sweet Life there, I've been there, done that, and happy. And as I said, I might not use all these, but they will be put aside for later. This one says Death by Chocolate. Sounds like the way to go. I thought that was perfect for this page as well. Now, I do kind of stuff up at the end of this layout, and I make a big mess of one section, and I'm really sad about that, and then I try to cover it up. I hope you guys will stick and see what I mean, and let me know how bad I stuffed up. But I did nearly completely ruin the page, I think, but it is only paper. I could have pulled it all apart and started on another base page if I had to, but that's, you know, these things happen. There I've coloured the Sweet Life with a tri-blend marker, and I've popped it there. So I'm going for little splashes of that kind of bright greeny colour around the page, and I do the same with this. Been there, done that. I put a little border of green around that. And then I'm looking at Death by Chocolate, and I kind of just didn't like it on that bare piece of paper. I could have trimmed it up nicely, but I ended up cutting out a shield with one of our shield thin cuts. And then I colour around the outside of this, and I kind of like it. And then as I'm going, I think, no, it's not going to work for me. And we end up making another one. But that's okay, guys. Not everything you do is going to be perfect, and you're going to do a couple of things and change them about as you go. So that's part of our process as makers and as creative people, that you know, it doesn't have to work first time. There's always things we can do to change things up. So I'm really liking the clusters there that I have, and I like that. I like the saying Death by Chocolate, but I don't like how kind of very, very green it was. So I cut another shield, and I did a little bit of the Twisted Citron, just splattered over there, and I also picked up that green onto that little bubble that says need I say more as well, so that they will all tie in together. I do pop it back down the bottom, but I will move that eventually, that Death by Chocolate. Here I'm coming in with some little chocolates from that sheet of stamps. Or sorry, these ones are macaroons. So, and I stamp it in green and look and go, I'm not overly fond of that, even though I wanted to keep popping little bits of that twisted citron colour in. I kind of didn't quite like that. I tried to stamp over the top of that, and I once I'd stamped it in black, as you'd seen there, and I figured that looked quite cute with just a little bit of the green in it. I then come in with a little bit of the toffee ink and those macaroons, and again that brings in that nice brownie colour, warm brown colour that's in the photos as well, and it's just a tiny little dab of it. It's not much, but it's enough. You can see there I had stamped a cake as well, but I put that one to the side. So I'm going to attach these things to the page now, adhere a whole heap of it down, and I won't bore you with the film of that because it takes a little while to take everything apart and put them down. I'm delving back into that bag of die cuts, the In Full Bloom die cuts, and I will check, guys, if these are still in stock. I'm not sure if they are. I know all the papers are sold out, but if there is anything of that collection left, I will pop it in the description below for you so that you know it is there. And if there's other things that I think that you guys might want to know from here, I will pop those in the description as well. But please feel free, if there's something you want to know more about, a code of a product or something like that, just to leave me a message. I nearly always answer all my messages. So here is where I'm going to do a bit of a stuff up, guys. And I go in, I want these little chocolates, and I think these little chocolates are going to look cute. And then I stamp a couple of them, and then I keep going and I keep going. And at this point, I haven't completely stuffed it. It's okay. It's not too bad. So I've done that. And then I'm kind of like thinking I'm finished, and then I went, it's not quite right. It's something's still wrong. So I go, oh, I'll just do a dark line underneath. Maybe the chocolates need something to sit on. So I come in with a black marker, and I draw a line, and then I fill it in, and here I go. And I wish at this point I'd just walked away for a little while and just had to think about it, but I didn't. I just kind of kept going, and I don't know, guys. Well, why do we do these things? So I got to there and then went, oh no, I'm going to add a little bit more of this limey green color under here, and I do that, and I go in and I do a bit more darker. Oh, guys, at this stage I'm just like, now I cut out about 5 minutes of me just sitting here going, what have I done? What have I done? So I have made this beautiful triangle with those pops of green, but they don't go around my photo. They go off the photo, so they take all the attention away from my cluster of photos. And as soon as I've kind of realized this, I've gone, what have I done and how can I fix it? And I just sat there and I kept adding a few little flower branches and things, thinking that's going to fix it, but it wasn't going to fix it. I eventually come in, and this is not a perfect fix, guys. It can be seen, and definitely because I'm telling you guys it's there, you'll definitely notice it now. But I come in with a strip of paper and I kind of match it in along there as best I can. The pattern doesn't match at all, but I kind of pop that piece in, and then those chocolates are still absolutely annoying me. So I'm going to come in with another piece, and I don't get the top of those chocolates. Now, I had one full sheet of this paper left. I could have gone in and I could have cut that corner out of the paper and completely fixed this. But that to me is a waste of paper. So having the top of those chocolates still there is, to me, it's a choice. look, I don't know if I'm really happy. Looking back now, I think I probably could have gone in with the white gesso and covered that, and it would have been none the wiser. But yeah, it was hard knowing that I kind of ruined the page, and that it's, I love the page. I absolutely adore this page, guys, but I wish I hadn't made that mistake. Anyway, stop feeling sorry for yourself, Nat. Let's move on. I did get that triangle though when I moved that, need I say more, little bubble over to that top right hand corner, and I added another little cluster up there because that then did give me a beautiful triangle, and it worked really well. And that does save the little bit down the bottom a bit, because your eye is really drawn now to the photos and not down to that bottom corner. So some good things came. I'm going in with a few little black acrylic hearts, and I think by this stage I was just trying to draw out my eye as far away from that other corner as I possibly could. So I bring in those little hearts, and then I do add a few enamel dots, guys, and then that is this page completed. If you did get through all my whining and my self-pity and sadness, thank you so much for sticking by me, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. How bad is my mistake? I'm happy to hear it. Be honest. And would you have replaced the sheet of paper, or would have you just kept going? I'd love to hear. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Have a lovely, lovely day. Bye.